You're welcome. You know, when it's 1 p.m., it's about time we look at political conversations beyond the surface. And that's why I would say to carve this special program for you to have an engagement about politics, about politics, about decisions, and some of those are political gladiators, the state actors, and so many other issues. And one thing that I would want to know beyond what the tabloids will tell you or what the regular news space would inform you about yesterday, these reasons much later in the day is that there's just been issues left and right, and one of them to themselves. I think that was after the Senate president is behind his removal by the courts. And we talked about the fact that in the heat of the argument, let me for public consumption conversation on the show today. And for the second week running, we're blessed to have Mpho Okoudwa join us on the show. So it's a bumper conversation, and you want to have an idea of what we do in the studio. We're streaming live on all our social media platforms as well on X for Wednesdays from 1 to 3 p.m. And of course, every other thing here. My name is on South Senatorial District. It's been in the upper legislative chamber since 2000. There's always something to hold on to. Let me bring my side forward is a co-anchor. Mpho Okoudwa is a special guest. Side forward, good evening. Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good afternoon, O꞉ A nice day to also look at current happenings in the political space. A lot of issues that are fit to.
Gladys Bahat, you know Senator Alundumi very well. They speak to, in fact, he's always acted like the opposition within his own political party. He's a member of the APC. Its agents are paid less than 50,000 naira monthly. He's always been in the news for however way you want to look at it. What is wrong is relative. Form a crux of the conversation today. Our player of Nigeria, and let's get it straight, is being relocated to Lagos. Of course, the Honorable Minister of Aviation has said, why not? The aerospace operation is more commercialized in Lagos. We have more, flight operations in Lagos. Why don't we bring the headquarters of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria back to Lagos? And it has raised a lot of conversation. They said they want to regionalize politics. Tinubu is using his agenda into it. He's trying to divide the capital into two. Take a listen to what Senator Alundumi had said, and when we come back, we'll open the conversation. We'll also look at the critical issue that is going on the plateau. The immediate past Deputy Speaker of the Plateau State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Fᴜဃᴜ was on the situation yesterday, and he tore into the conversation. Remember also that last week, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Communication of the same Plateau State, Honorable Musa Ashoms, was also with us in the situation room. All of this put together yesterday. There were renewed attacks yesterday. Families were burned, houses were burnt in Mongu local government, the local government of the governor of the state, and around 11 a.m. 24 hours curfew was declared in that same local government. And by the way, that is the local government that housed the permanent orientation camp of the NYSC in the state. Listen to what Senator Alundumi has got to say. Then when we come back, the Midweek Politics will open the conversation, and then I'll have Said Fuad and Mpho Okoudwa join us. Once again, thank you for spending time with us, for taking your 2 hours from 1 to 3 p.m. to be on this show.
Here is easy to bring normalcy and redecorate. It's more difficult.
The general elections in 2023 have created conversations and consequences that will live with us for years to come. From the executive to the judiciary, legislature, media, and the people, organized labor, and civil society organizations, issues that will continue to shape the future of our country needs continuous probing and interrogation.
I see the greater objective for the party, and let me tell you, I've told the PDP in some locations that, gentlemen, be careful. Better men have founded parties that have gone into oblivion. Where's the party of Awolowo? Where's the party of Azikwe? Where's PRP of Rimi? Political parties must be nurtured, they must be reinvented, they must be true.
Join O꞉ Akinode and Said Fuad on Midweek Politics every Wednesday 1 to 3 p.m. on Mainland 98.3 FM for thought-provoking conversations, voices from the top, engaging interviews, in-depth analysis on all matters around politics, policies and governance. Midweek Politics on Mainland 98.3 FM, bringing the right perspectives to everything politics.
Yes, it's not only about northern colleagues. You know, this is a consensus because we only have one federal capital, and that is Abuja. All these Lagos boys that are thinking that Lagos is Nigeria are just misinforming or advising the president wrongly. The regulators of the financial institutions are supposed to be or are in Abuja. Do you want them to move back to where, because you say Lagos is the commercial capital? This is one of the mistakes, and I'm sure Mr. President will reverse it because it doesn't work. You can't have two capital. Is the CBN governor going to be operating from Lagos and the headquarters of the CBN is in Lagos? Or do you now say that because majority of our oil is extracted from South-South, you take NNPC to South-South? Or is it because Nigeria's agricultural district is more in the north, you take Ministry of Agric to anywhere in the north? It doesn't work that way. And that is one of the problems that is cropping up. But I'm very sure, I'm very confident that Mr. President will look at this because he's a nationalist, not just a Lagos man. Some of these people think that, I'll repeat, some of them think that Lagos is Nigeria. Lagos is not Nigeria. Lagos is not the headquarters of Nigeria. The headquarters of Nigeria is in Abuja. It's not about North, which is operational purpose. Why was the headquarters moved from Lagos to Abuja? Is it not because of the congestion there? That doesn't work. If you have to do that, if you are talking about proximity and space, why don't you take them to Nasarawa there, or take them to Kogi, or take them to Kaduna, just nearby, so that you decongest the place? And I even don't see any issue of congestion. There is just going to be increase in cost because they will be running from Lagos to Abuja every time, spending more money. You end up spending more money, or exposing even the workers to unnecessary risk. This is a decision that is not well thought out, and I think the president will reverse it. I'm confident of that. And if that does not happen, of course, this is democracy. We'll know what to do. The reaction is, we don't try to bring the issue of tribalism into it. I'm not a Hausa man, and I'm not a Fulani man, but I'm a northerner, and I'm a Nigerian first. And we say that since the headquarters and more of no man's land, because the Gwaris and the Bagis are the Gondora agency. But moving some departments to Lagos is not the best of ideas at all. It's just that those political captains and correct anything. I'm sure he will do that. Lagos. Then you start doing things as if Nigeria is Lagos. No, Lagos is in Nigeria. That's a wrong decision. We will not accept it. And besides, trying to hang on to Mr. President will not be there. Know that they have brains. They think some of us that be central bank governor.
Okay, welcome back. In case you're just tuning in, we're just getting the party started, and then the party will start from Lagos. They said get straight up into it, and I'm going to start from this side forward. Lagos. You have state like Kano, you have River State as well, you have the FCT Abuja. You have other states that brings a lot of commercial energy to the calculation, but the bulk of the headquarters of most of the financial institutions that we have in Nigeria are in Lagos, from Adesola to Marina. Adesola to Marina. That's where you find some of those big. And let's start from the CBN conversation. The CBN said they are moving some of their key operational departments to Lagos. Side forward, you heard Senator Alain Dume, and he said a lot, more like throwing shade to the Lagos boys, but he also talked about the fact that political consequences. He repeated that twice. What do you understand by what Alain Dume just said in reference to the issue of political consequences?
Right. Okay. Well, I think that particular statement was less than 10 minutes. If I get my calculations right, and within that time he mentioned Lagos more than 50 times. So at a stage you think he has a personal beef with Lagos.
With us in Lagos.
Because it was just Lagos, this Lagos boys, this Lagos, this Lagos that, and I was like, what exactly is Senator Ndume addressing? Is he addressing Lagos, addressing the issue of a decision to move some key departments off the CBN to Lagos? Again, the memo from the CBN moving these key departments, their internal memo, clearly states why this decision is being made for, like you said, operational reasons. And you know, they said look, they are not really the entire CBN, just about 5 key departments are being moved to Lagos for operational efficiency. They talked about the issue of, you know, cutting down cost of operations and all of that, and indeed for more efficiency, for better supervision, it's only logical and of course reasonable for them to move some of these key departments to Lagos from Abuja. Now I like the fact that look, it's a democracy and it gives us an opportunity to address these issues. Senator Ndume, for example, represents a particular set of people. If they have concerns, I like addressing issues, not, you know, when you say substance over form, instead of, you know, because again, like you said, people would have thought that look, there's a particular problem with Lagos as far as this man is concerned. Now you talked about the issue of political consequences. There can't be any other political consequence other than the fact that look, they will rally the people in the north not to vote for the president. That's the only thing.
During the
next election, that's the only political, because you know, they kept asking him what is the consequence, what will be the consequence if the president refuses, you know, to reverse that decision, because he said he trusts the president to reverse the decision. But he's saying that look, he knows the president will reverse the decision, but if he doesn't, there will be consequences. And I think he was probed to the point where he eventually said that look, because again, the consequences could have been legal, maybe they are going to go to court.
It could have been economical.
Maybe they shut down the country and say no or start to protest. But he eventually was able to now define
the consequences,
and he said
along political lines.
He said his political consequences. He said it, and he said that look, and if you look at what he said, obviously his mind is purely on politics, not on governance. Because at some point he said that look, these guys who are taking decisions think they know more than everybody, but that before the president became president to appoint them, it was elections and politics that brought him in. So to him, the logic of operational efficiency, operational cost does not make any sense. It's just about politics and the interest of the region he represents. Now, you see, for me, I think it's a bit myopic, because if you even want to talk about the interest of people you represent, an effective CBN, for example, an operationally efficient CBN would eventually rub off positively on the region it represents. If, for example, the CBN is able to represent or operate effectively and tame this problem of the naira crashing against the dollar, and work, for example, to bring up monetary policies that would, you know, engender development, and also work to the point, you know, the government has said they are targeting a $1 trillion economy. If the CBN works effectively, does what it needs to do, they're talking about recapitalization of the banks. I'm sure they need more monetary. I'm saying that look, it's a very sensitive issue. You know, our politicians are very smart. You know, when they want to, decide the narrative, they want to control the conversation.
They politicize it.
And then, of course, there's also the thing about perception management. When they want to manage the perception of people of an issue, what they do is to come up with these conversations. Is that they come with ethnicity, tribalism, or religion?
Sanford, hold your thoughts. Matthew Okodua, the Arewa Consultative Forum had also released a statement. The National Public Secretary of the organization, Professor T. Muhammad Baba, talked about the fact that the relocation of the airports and some department within the CBN is a plot to underdevelop the north. And I'm wondering, the FCT remains the FCT. It is the Federal Capital Territory. That means every region of the country should have equal representation in the FCT. The FCT is not a northern state. It's not a southern state. It's not a middle belt state. It is the FCT. That's why it does not have a governor. That's why it does not enjoy the status of a state. That conversation was put to test at the last election. But let's put that aside. Are you worried that this operational policy, operational decision has been politicized? Now let's take it back a little. Prior to the 2023 general election, the issue of reintroducing new naira notes also brought up a lot of political conversation around it. I've seen countries that introduces new notes is a good thing. It's something that the citizens embrace. You want to have a different feel, especially when you have a lot of old and damaged currency circulating. You want to have new notes with yourself. You don't expect that to come up with a lot of issue until the president, which was the presidential candidate then, came out to say that the decision was supposed to affect his election. In fact, the then president Muhammadu Buhari also come out to say that they want to mop up the currency so that the politicians will not have enough money to monetize the election, an election that was badly monetized, by the way. Now the issue of now the issue of relocating these units and the airports has taken a big political dimension. That a coalition of northern senators have released a statement. The Arewa Consultative Forum has released a statement. A lot of interest groups are really pushing. Are you worried that this has been politicized, Matthew Okodua?
If I say yes, I may be right. If I say no, I may be right. Because looking at the agitation, just because of the movement of some aspects of CBA and the rest of them, I would believe that the best thing Senator Ndume and his group would have done is to summon the CBN governor to the Senate, explain why you are moving these departments to Lagos. I think that would have solved the problem. And they didn't go that distance. They just decided to issue statements and threat, because that's political consequence.
It's a threat.
It's a threat. It's not even a vague threat. It's a direct threat. Just as Fuad said, maybe in the next election they will not vote for as a president. But you see, it also goes to show us the kind of politicians we have. And it also tells us that from now on we should begin to look at people that we vote into political positions. How can somebody sleep? You look at him sleeping, you politicize how to sleep. Somebody eat, you shouldn't eat like this. That's politics. That's a Lagos sleeping. This is Abuja sleeping. This is Abuja steps. This is Abuja voice. No. A party like APC is like a cauldron, a pot that is boiling with all kind of ingredients in it. There is pepper, there is salt, there is everything. But for that soup to be sweet, everything must come together as one. It becomes a sweet soup. By the time pepper goes above salt and salt goes above oil, it becomes a problem. That's what I have, right? What I think the APC cauldron is. This is Ndume, who is a senior senator, a senior serving senator, who should rally around presidential decisions
and policies.
But no, the idea here is the northern senators, the Arewa Consultative Forum, and the northern youths who are saying something about relocation. There's much more to it than meet the eye.
Exactly, I was going there.
It's not just this one. It's like they have so many other things together, and this is just a time to start voicing it out. They have their own grievances. They probably would tell Mr. President, because moving a department to Lagos, what does that mean? Does that mean that are we crashing the CBN office in Abuja, or are we pulling down the CBN house in Abuja? No, it remains there. Or okay, when you bring to Lagos, you probably employ more Lagosians into the department. Is that what it is? Or what we have in Abuja now, do you have more Northerners there than the rest of them? So I can't understand the threat itself. Well, maybe the agitation might be that, okay, by the time it goes to Lagos, more money will go to Lagos. But the question will be, as it's in Abuja now, do you have more money going to the north?
Maybe there's something they know that we don't know.
There may be. So the agitation, I think, is not just because of this. There are other things they have not told us. Because I can see the outbursts of Ndume, for instance.
I know that the interview, the statement of the National Policy Secretary of the Arewa Consultative Forum is the position of the forum itself, and the ACF is one of the strongest regional bloc that we have in this country. They have huge political power because of the composition of the forum. They said it is an attempt to underdevelop the north. Does any of you want to have the conversation about it?
I don't understand when they underdevelop.
What is the CBN doing in Abuja that is developing the north more than it should be developing?
The CBN is a development agency.
Exactly.
It's
not the Bank of Industry.
It's not the Bank of Industry. It's not the Bank of
Agriculture. Northeast Development Agency.
They are there.
Okay, again, in logical thinking, they say substance over form. And like Mr. Matthew Okodua said, there must be. I think this is just like a veil. and the real masquerade will be unveiled eventually. Will soon show up. Because again, it's not just even this relocation of departments of the CBN of Federal Operating Authority of Nigeria. They also talked about the budget, the appropriations in the 2024 budget that is lopsided to favor the South. Yes, they talked about it too. So, like I said, I think there are bigger issues in the mind of the so-called Northern elders, Northern senators, Iowa Constitutional Forum, the Northern Elders Forum, and people are agitating now. And there are people who feel that, look, this is even coming too early. Because President Muhammadu Buhari ruled for 8 years, and in a lot of his appointments, a lot of his actions, a lot of things were said to have been lopsided, whether we like it or not. It was tilted towards the northern part of the country. And for people who felt that, look, we should be discussing a national agenda rather than regional agenda, they felt that, look, we don't care where anything is put. So far, it was for the greater good of the country. Let's just support it. Now, this is the problem, Okoyemi. I've gone to a country, for example, where agencies, parastatals, and operations of government are kept close to the resources, and where the operations are most important.
That's what I'm going to. Because, sorry to hold your thought side for it. Because when Senator Ali Ndume was speaking, he said, oh, so why should they move CBN to Lagos? Should they now say because Bayelsa is producing oil, they should move NNPC to Bayelsa? Should they say because Minister of Agriculture should also be moved to Benue? Side for what? Why not?
That's it. Why not? Because, for example, if you go to a country like Turkey, Istanbul is seen like a commercial now center. That's where a lot of the commercial activities in that country happens. And then you have Istanbul, Ankara, that is like the administrative capital. So when you get to Ankara, you just see more of administrative. But when it comes to real agencies of government, when it comes to banking, commerce, they just domicile it in Istanbul, where the real thing is happening. And like you have said, look, Okoyemi, they talked about operational efficiency here, which also goes into cost. I remember there was a time people had even questioned the idea of having most of the oil companies having their headquarters in Lagos and Abuja, because what you find is wastages that happens with oil workers traveling every day, Okoyemi, from Lagos and Abuja to the Niger Delta. There's travel allowance, there's accommodation allowance, there's what you call out of station allowance, and people have said that, look, instead of having these junketing, wastages and all of that, why don't you put the operations in the Niger Delta where the resources are? Okay, look, when you look at the Ministry of Agric, there are agencies and parastatals, Agric research, blah blah blah, all of that. Look,